Sorry, I thought I could get a swig of beer in there before I spoke again.
Okay. I'll forgive you for that one. On you go.
Need a cough button in this podcast or something.
He says, if it's all right with you and Derek, I would like to come on the podcast. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I says, are you sure? He says, aye. He says just about everything. He says, I'm totally buzzing in that. Totally. It's like, and he's showing me all the stuff that he's bought, because he got his wee boy a Ranger strip. He's bought Union Jack bunting. He's got his inflatable shark. He's got his fucking, the plastic Union Jack bowler hats. He's got them, and he's going to do all his fucking hoose and everything.
I'm sure his missus all of that one.
On that note, Dave needs to go to the toilet.
For fuck's sake.
Come on, Derek, I've had 2 bottles of beer, for fuck's sake. Give me 2 minutes.
I can't never say this. Twirret. Charles Twirret. Sorry, I'll say it again. We've announced a partnership with... I can't even fucking say this. We've announced that...
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.
Manchester, brace yourself. Rangers are coming!
Hi everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the iReady podcast. As ever, I'm your host Derek, and with me is my co-host Dave. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm well, Derek. How's yourself, mate?
Fantastic. I'm still on annual leave from work. 2 great wins to talk about, and I've cracked open a beer. No Pepsi Max for me tonight.
Well, funny you should say that, but I've got a nice wee bottle of Peroni sitting next to me as well, which is going down just nicely. So, looking forward to it, Derek.
You're trendy fucker. The only thing worse could have been if it was Moretti or something like that.
No, that's a bit too expensive for me, mate. You know me, Derek, it was on offer. That's the only reason I've got it, is because it was on offer.
So, yes, as I said, we've got 2 wins to talk about, the Dundee United game and just the other near heart-stopping game against Antwerp in the second leg, but all good nonetheless. So, we may as well go down the tunnel and onto the park. So the first game we've got to cover, as I said, was Sunday the 21st of February. It was a 4-1 win at home against Dundee United in the Premiership. 4 changes from the first leg of the Royal Antwerp game. That included Tavernier and Roof, obviously out injured in that game. Clive Tilsley back on comms as well.
Yes.
I mean, as much as Tom Miller's great, just what a difference in class having Clive is.
I'm not going to slag off Tom, but as you say, I think just because of the stature of Clive, I think every single sports fan or football fan in Britain knows who he is. And it just, I don't know if it just makes it feel as if it's maybe in a more global experience, shall we say. It was as if the game was on a sort of big stage with him commentating the games. It's great. I do love listening to Tom, but it's great to get Clive's insight as well, because the man has... commentated on some of the biggest matches, over the last sort of 30 years. So it's always great to hear him commentating on one of your games. And
he seems to have taken us all into heart as well, which is
definitely
great.
Yes, yeah. Definitely. So,
Yep, by the end of the game, though, we lined up McGregor, Balogun, Goldson, Helander, Barisic, Jack, Davis, Aribo, Hadji, Kent and Morelos. On the subs bench were McLaughlin, Simpson, Defoe, Itten, Kamara, Wright, Stewart, Arfield and King.
Now that's a bench and a half, Derek. That's a bench and a half. I think we've been saying that all season. The difference over the last few seasons, just the strength that we've had on strength and depth that we've had on the bench as well. So absolutely brilliant.
Yep. So the first half overall, it was quite a frustrating first half, I felt, despite us being 2 goals in front come the 45-minute mark. Before the goals, McGregor made 2 or 3 top saves to keep us at 0-0. United were carving our back line up a number of occasions. We were slow going forward, allowing United to regroup too easy. Again, a feature of what we've been doing. Aribo probably been our best player, really agile, really tricky with the defenders, and was also involved in our first goal.
Yes, just like what you said, Derek, I'll let you get into exactly what happened, but Dundee United were certainly trying, which, maybe that's what was taking us by surprise. We're usually used to teams just coming and, putting their whole sort of 10 men behind the ball, but Dundee United certainly weren't. They were definitely going out to try and score against us.
Yep. 9th minute, it was good play by Dundee United on the edge of our box. Our defence stood watching it, ended in Shanklin going 1v1 with McGregor, and McGregor making a great block and save. 17th minute, United had a break into our box, passed to the left into the box, into space for the on-running attacker. McGregor charges out and dives at the feet and manages to palm the ball away. Another dangerous attack there. 21st minute, Aribo on the left gets to the edge of the box, cuts inside and has a curling shot, forcing a great save from the keeper and then cleared out for the corner by the defender. 26th minute, Jack picked up an injury. Kamara came on for him. He wasn't moving freely enough.
No.
And I think it's just been more of a precaution in the end than he had felt a wee tweak. It was best just to take him off. We know what Jack's like. He needs to nurse his injuries. 29th minute, a good move by Dundee United, ending in their attacker controlling it, then shooting the ball at the edge of the box, forcing McGregor into a great save. Maybe it was looked a wee bit more Hollywood than it really was, but it was carving our defence open again, which is a disappointing thing to see.
It certainly was, Derek, and at this stage of the game, I'm not going to say we were toiling, but we really hadn't started at all. 30 minutes into the game, Dundee United, but certainly attacking-wise, were the better team. And I was sitting saying, something's got to change here. We're going to have to do something, to try and change this game.
Yeah, well, we've certainly done that because in the 35th minute, we went 1-0 up with Hadji scoring. Lots of possession down the right, got to the touchline, passed to Aribo on the corner of the box. He shimmies with the ball, cuts inside, hits a goal-bound shot, a slight flick off the boot of Hadji and into the back of net through the keeper's legs. I'm not too sure how much Hadji knew about it, to be honest, but certainly it done enough to put the keeper off and into the back of the net.
Yeah, I actually think it was great play by Aribo, as you say. He was having a shot towards goal, but I actually think that the goalie might have got his hand to it. So if it wasn't for that sort of wee touch by Hadji steering it past, and scoring. So certainly against the run he played, Derek, but really wasn't bothered at all because we were needing something at that stage to give us a bit of a kick, and that certainly was it after that. So just delighted to be taking the lead, especially with the chances that United had previous to that.
Yep, and it only taken another 2 minutes because we went 2-0 up with Kent scoring. It was good play and possession ending in a good cross to the back post by Barisic, cleared by the defender but only to the edge of the box in the centre. Kent fires a shot on the volley which deflects off the defender and into the back of the net. I would have said it's an OG, but the stats say it was a Kent goal, so I don't care how they come as long as they get into the back of the net.
Yep, definitely. And in my opinion, Derek, that was the turning point, big time of the game, because you could tell that United's heads were right down because they knew that they were given it a good go. And thankfully for us, that second goal. But excellent back by Rangers not to just sort of sit back after scoring that first goal. You really go for it and get that killer goal, especially at that time of the game. So absolutely delighted. And for Kent as well, Derek, who has been excellent ever since he was benched and then he came on against Antwerp. It's maybe been the sort of kick up the bum that he was needing because, he'd been quite quiet previous to that, but absolutely delighted for him, and to get him back on form at this time of the season could be, crucial for us.
Absolutely. I think he was injured, though he had picked up a wee knock for it when he did get benched for that game. But certainly it's done him the world of good, whatever it's done. Yep. 42nd minute, the Dundee United keeper with a double save from Morelos on the right-hand side of the box. Unlucky that there. A minute later, on the 43rd minute, Davis with a long-range volley on the right side, but he shanked it wide. And right on the stroke of half-time, on the 45th minute, a great cross in from the right by Balogun, who was travelling at pace, right to Morelos at the back post. He headed the ball, but the keeper made a save, bounced on the line, and Morelos couldn't bundle it over as the defender cleared. I think that Morelos could have done a wee bit better with his header there, because he almost directed it towards the keeper rather than directing it away from him, but at least he was getting in that position there, and that would have totally killed the game. But regardless, going 2-0 up at half time, considering we weren't the best we had ever been, as you said, heads down from Dundee United, demoralising absolutely, and we charged on.
Exactly. As I said before, Derek, the first 30 minutes we really weren't offering anything, and United looked the more dangerous out of the two teams. But as I say, it's just incredible how one goal can change. And then, as I say, all credit to us for really going for it straight away. As soon as we scored, it paid off. And really, there was no way that we were going to get beat or even drop any points after that second goal went in.
No, absolutely not. So into half time, and it only taken us 3 minutes to completely wrap up the game, and it was Joe Aribo with an absolute stunner. A throw in from the left hand side, picked up by Aribo, who passes inside to Morelos, who passes back to him. Perhaps there may be a heavy flick up. It was calmly collected though back by Aribo, who gets to the edge of the box and hits a fantastic shot past the keeper. Just an all round stunning move, a stunning goal, a stunning execution.
Derek, it's another one for this season for top goals. It was absolutely sensational, the goal by Aribo. By far our best player, in the game up to that point. And as you say, just his control, his awareness, and then, just to be able to look up and he hits the absolute perfect shot past the keeper, absolutely no chance. An absolute stunning goal, Derek. And like I say, it's going to be difficult at the end of the season with the amount of high quality, incredible goals that we've scored this season. That's right up there. That's in the top 10 for me. Absolutely fantastic goal.
I mean, we're going to really struggle to pick the best goal of the season, to be honest, because we've had some amazing goals this year.
Derek, there's one goal that stands out of them all, that's been scored already, which is going to be a sort of maybe once in a lifetime goal that we've seen for Rangers, and that was, away in Europe and Belgium. But, that aside, the amount of other incredible goals that we've had this season, and I'm sure that we'll talk about it, come the end of the season, we'll have a wee pod to talk about some of the best goals, but that's certainly up there anyway. It was tremendous.
We're going to have about 100 goals to review, you ken that? We struggle to get podcasts out as it is, Dave. Come on.
No, it was fantastic. Brilliant goal.
Yep. So that was the game absolutely wrapped up at that point. 52nd minute, a long-range shot from Morelos, but a comfortable save from the keeper. 58th minute, Barisic with a cross to the back post from the left. Morelos gets a header, but it went wide. Substitutions on the 62nd minute, Hadji and Davis off, Arfield and Wright on. And then a minute later, we went 4-0 up with Morelos getting a goal. The ball knocked to Morelos at the halfway line, knocks the ball forward. He appeared to knock it too far, but he kept on running. The defender passed it to the keeper, who tries to kick it upfield, but hits Morelos on the shoulder and into the back of the net. Again, don't care how they go in, but that was just all down to Morelos' sheer tenacity all the way through from the halfway line to follow up to the keeper as well. Brilliant.
Absolutely delighted for him, Derek, because, strikers, they live off of goals, and although Alfredo's been tremendous for us, even when he's not been scoring, it was great for him. And as you say, it was all about the pressure that he was putting on. So, a lot of haters out there will say that it was a fluke, but as you say, I'm going 100% for the fact he was charging it down. He was making sure he was going to get something on that. So that to me is as good as a tap-in or anything like that. So absolutely delighted for him, and that was the route complete at that point.
Yep. Well, it certainly wasn't finished at that point, because the three words that you like to hear, penalty to Rangers, happened on the 62nd minute. Morelos brought down in the box. Arfield had a fantastic shot from just outside the box and he smashed it off the bar, but the referee had blown for the penalty nonetheless. On the same minute, Helander and Morelos came off, Defoe and Simpson came on, so Morelos wasn't even going to get a chance to get another goal there. From Gerrard in that one there. And on the 67th minute, the penalty was missed by Barisic. He hit it to the right. It was a good save from the keeper. The shot wasn't close enough to the corner.
No.
It was just a poor penalty all round, I kind of think. And he had chose the right-hand side for the third penalty in a row as well.
Me and you, I think we've had this discussion before, Tav's not there to take penalties. Who would you entrust to take it? And I said straight away, who's the guy that takes the free kicks? He's usually so accurate. He's crossing, he's passing, everything like that. So dead balls as well. So give it to Barisic. I was really shocked. It was a shocking penalty by his standards, as you say, far too close to the centre of the goal. It was just to the side of the centre. So, as I say, it was an all right save by the goalkeeper. It wasn't outstanding. He made it very, very easy for him, and really quite disappointed. But there's more important penalties coming up in the next game, so we'll forgive him for that one.
Absolutely, and certainly for the two he scored in the previous game as well.
Yep.
73rd minute, lovely move between Simpson, Wright and Aribo all the way down the left-hand side, just overhit by Wright to Aribo in the box, and the move fizzled out. And on the 86th minute, United got a consolation goal. The attacker picked up the ball at the edge of the box on the right, cut inside to the middle and hit a trundle into the bottom left corner past McGregor. Really poor allowing him to do that, and kind of poor from McGregor, I felt, as well.
I was quite surprised about it as well, Derek. Very sloppy as well, and something that you don't usually, is when have we ever? And it's not happened a lot this season, especially in the league, that we've conceded a goal. But usually we would put it down to bad defending. But as you say, I was quite surprised with McGregor there as well. So just sloppy all round and disappointing to to lose the one, considering we were four up at that point. But as I say, these things happen, and it's all about the 3 points, Derek, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the last piece of play in the game was on the 90th minute with Barisic with a corner from the right. Goldson gets a bullet header to it, but the keeper with an easy take, and that wrapped up the game. So absolutely delighted with that. It could have been a banana skin game, what Dundee United are like. They're certainly decent-ish this year. Had a good run of form as well at that point, but we overcame them with ease, bar the first 30 minutes. But we soaked everything up, and we have a great keeper at the back to negate anything that does penetrate the defence.
Yes, delighted with the 3 points, Derek. Like I said, that's the most important thing. But, we saw an absolutely tremendous goal by Joe Aribo, which is definitely the highlight for me, Derek. And, it keeps us going. It's that's all that matters at the moment. We keep saying one game at a time, and that's exactly what we've been doing. And another vital 3 points.
Absolutely. And on that day later on, Celtic travelled to Ross County and they amazingly lost. So the 18-point gap was restored at that point.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
What a weekend.
It was fantastic, Derek. Can I be honest with you? I was expecting something from that game because Ross County are sort of fighting for their lives at this stage, so I didn't think that there would be a victory at that stage, but the fact that they got that was tremendous, and again it completely shuts down their narrative of either games in hand and stuff like that they had, that they could claw it back, because quite clearly they couldn't. So delighted to be that far in front again, Derek, and it's getting closer, isn't it?
Absolutely. Next game we've got to cover, and where do we start with this again, Dave? Thursday the 25th of February at home to Royal Antwerp in the Europa League last 32 second leg, where we won 5-2 and we won 9-5 on aggregate. That's just fucking madness, isn't it?
Now, Derek, if you had said to me before this game, what do you think the score's going to be? I would have said to you, there's no way it's going to be as open as the last game. Surely we will go out to not concede any goals and maybe try and nick 1 or 2. So if you'd asked me, I'd have maybe said 2-0 to Rangers at the end of the day. Hard fought game. There's no way I would have thought we would have had another absolute madness game, but I'll let you get into it.
Yep. So it was a virtual watch-along as well with Clive Tildesley and Jermaine Defoe, so fans could pay $3.99 or $5.99. You got a different package depending on what you paid for. It was synced with BT Sport as well. They're the official broadcasters of the Europa League. So for those that have got non-official streams, shall we say, I don't think it really would have worked. So hence, I never bought the thing. But it was an absolute great idea. More money in the club. It seemed to have went well as well. A few people grumbling because it was tagged on to with my Jers points as well. But the quicker people get round to the fact that you buy shit with the club, you get fucking incentives to buy it. It's not just a, oh, give me this for free, I'm a loyal fan. But that's another story for another day. We had one change from the Dundee United game as well. We lined up McGregor, Balogun, Goldson, Helander, Barisic, Davis, Aribo, Kamara, Kent, Hadji and Morelos. Now, the subs bench drew a few surprises, didn't it, Dave?
Certainly did. It certainly did.
With the COVID-3, shall we say. McLaughlin, Wright, Bassey, Itten, Zungu, Patterson, Stewart, Simpson, Arfield and King. What was your first thoughts we've seen the bench, Dave?
My first thoughts were that those 3 guys are exceptionally lucky. Now, me and you went into great detail in the last pod, Derek, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but those boys should be considering themselves extremely lucky and extremely privileged that Steven Gerrard has entrusted them to come back into the team. There's a lot of people have said, oh, well, we should, forgive them, they're young laddies and stuff like that. But me and you have went over it. And, at the end of the day, they were back, and if they were going to be playing for the club, we'll be cheering them on. But very, very lucky laddies, especially Patterson. You know what I mean? With what was to come. So, I think I'll leave it at that, Derek.
I think one thing that did go in their favour is before the game, Patterson, Bassey and Zungu all released an apology video individually on the Rangers media channels. Patterson looked near in tears, to be honest. Bassey was nearly as bad as that. All appeared remorseful. Gerrard was asked if this will dent Zungu's possible long-term deal going through, and it was a pretty much confirmation that it would, and there's a good chance he's not going to get a long-term deal now. And then he ends up, coming on the bench. So strange one that. We'll need to wait and see what happens. Certainly with Bassey and Patterson, they're assets, and sometimes it's don't cut your nose off to spite your face.
I know. As I say, I'm not trying to be controversial. It's we spoke about it at length. It's finished now. The two of them are back in the squad, and I think they should just basically count themselves as very, very, very lucky guys. Absolutely. To be given that chance again. So on the third minute, good work in midfield, out to Aribo on the right, centre to Morelos, who was a great vision to play in Kent on the left at the edge of the box, who controls it, hits a shot, but it was a right trundler and it went wide. 7th minute, it was a switch from right to left. Kent with a scuff shot, forcing the keeper into a dive and save and out for the corner. And in the 8th minute, we went 1-0 up with Morelos. Ball down the right, collected by the defender at the touchline, who passes forward to his teammate on the edge of the box. He tried to pass it back to the keeper with a really, really poor ball. The as ever alert, Kent nips in to intercept the ball, cuts it back to Morelos, who was under pressure, but shoots the ball into pretty much an empty net. Just great tenacity, great vision, and great execution once again from the whole team. Yep, absolutely brilliant, Derek. A fantastic start for the team. As you say, our press and play is tremendous again, forcing the other teams into a mistake. Kent's awareness tremendous, and the finish by Alfredo Morelos, as you say, although it was an empty net, the boy was right on top of him. He kept his nerve, hit it first time, clinical, into the back of the net. Absolutely tremendous start.
Brilliant. 16th minute, Hadji with a shot from distance. It was a trundler again, easy for the keeper. 25th minute, Morelos with a quick shot from distance, but well over the bar. He tried to take everyone by surprise with that. Maybe needs some tips from Roof on that one there. 27th minute, lots of time and space, ending in Hadji picking up the ball on the right, driving it into the box, having a blasted shot, forcing the keeper into a double-fisted save to beat the ball away, and was eventually cleared for the throw-in. 29th minute, quick counter by Antwerp down the left, got the cross off, found the attacker in the box completely unmarked, who had a volleyed shot put wide. It was really dangerous, poor marking again, showing they still posed a threat, and we really needed another at that point to kill the tie off properly.
Derek, I was been very impressed with Antwerp as an attacking team. I think they, there was quite a few times they were, really, really impressed. Had a couple of really good players up front, and I knew that it was still going to be quite a dodgy game for us if we weren't at our best defensively. And as you say, that was a real chance for them to score that one.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was you seen it coming because, they never gave up and they were coming more into the game at this point. And in the 31st minute, they drew level at 1 each. It was played down the left. Balogun turned inside and out. The attacker got the cross off, just off the ground. The attacker taps it into the back of the net with his outside his foot. Really simple. Again, poor marking.
It was again, the previous chance you would have hoped that our defence had sort of livened up there. So I was quite disappointed. But the fact that that we weren't getting beat at that point, Derek, it was still a draw. I was hoping that would maybe give your players a wee kick up the backside just to say, look, this team could score against us because they're very good going forward. But disappointing to you can see the goal quite late on in the half.
Yep. Probably the last piece of play in the half on the 44th minute, Antwerp down the left, beats Balogun into the box and hits a shot at the near post just wide. Again, really dangerous. And we were, the tie should have been over when it went 1-0, and we contrived to allow them to come back into the game, which was really disappointing. So that was into half time. The first half was really a half of two halves. We really should have been 2 or 3 up in the first 20 minutes. The first 20-25 minutes, we had a lot of time, we had a lot of space and possession, moving the ball about well. Yep. And it ultimately, as I said in the post-match, I'm maybe being a wee bit harsh on them, but I don't think Antwerp were all that great. It was just really poor defensively from us. And I suppose you could ultimately say it was arguably the same poor defensively from them as well. But I just felt that we've came up against better teams this season so far in Europe. Then we completely switched off from about the 30th minute onwards. They started closing us down more. They were dangerous and had all the hallmarks of the week before, where it was just a combination of poor marking, and we made it so easy for them to cut through the defence, which is the frustrating thing, considering we've been so solid in defence this year as well.
It is, Derek. I'm not going to be too harsh, because I thought their sort of front three were very good. I thought they had great understanding and great link-up play. The guy up front is Lamkelzee, who by all means apparently is a complete nutcase of a guy, but I was really impressed with him. I thought he looked a fantastic player. Every time he got the ball, he looked really, really dangerous. So I knew we were going to be up against it, but I agree with you 100%, because I think it got to about the 25th minute. We were 1-0 up, and as you say, our players were getting the ball in midfield, and we were getting so much time on the ball, which we're not used to get forward. And disappointing that we didn't capitalise on that, Derek, because I think we had them at that point, and for them to keep it to 1-0 and then get that goal near the end of the first half was really quite disappointing.
Yeah. But anyway, it was still all in our hands. We just needed to watch out, obviously, for the away goals issue as well. And you don't want to always need to rely on away goals, because it's nerve-wracking for a start.
Derek, especially, I mean, up until Steven Gerrard has came to Rangers, especially in Europe, how many times, especially at Ibrox, have we been knocked out of European competitions by away goals? There's so many times it's happened that I've watched us both playing in the Champions League and the UEFA Cup and now the Europa League. It's happened time and time again. So I never take anything for granted when watching Rangers. But I think it's changed now. The whole culture, touchwood, has changed under Steven Gerrard now, but we've seen that story so many times before, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But into the second half, we made a substitution at half-time with Balogun off and Patterson on. Balogun did not appear to be moving freely, and it turned out he did actually pick up a knock. Combined with picking up a booking, it meant he's going to miss the last 16 anyway, and he was turned inside out a few times. Yep. And it was kind of obvious that was the substitution to make. However, what an inspired substitution that turned to be, because of all the fucking people. 16 seconds into the second half, Nathan Patterson put us 2-1 up, and I fucking missed it because my stream went down.
Derek, it was a tremendous goal, so I'll give the laddie all the credit. What a fantastic goal it was for him. He scored his first goal for the club at that stage. With everything that's happened, and the tweet that I put out at the time was, you just could not write that. I'll let you get into the goal, Derek, but it was fantastic.
Straight from the kick-off, Davis ends up digging the ball out from midfield and gets the ball to Morelos, who gets by his first man, then feeds a lovely forward ball to Patterson, who was running forward. He gets the ball at the edge of the box on the right, drives it into the box and hits a shot across the keeper into the back of the net. Just a stunning move all round, and you couldn't script that, could you?
Derek, the whole thing, Alfredo Morelos, absolutely outstanding. Absolutely. I mean, you know how much I love the guy, and I'm going to wax lyrical about him at the end of the game, but his all-round play, especially in the second half, was outstanding. But as you say, the ball from Morelos, the tenacity of him to get the ball, and then an absolutely inch-perfect through ball to Patterson running down. Now, if that had been Tav that scored that goal, Derek, we would have been like, oh, that just shows you, Tav, that's the type of player he is, absolutely fantastic. But for him, being his first goal for the club, for everything that had happened before, he'd done everything absolutely 100% perfectly, didn't he? The run, the control, the touch, and then that finish. It was like a seasoned striker that scored that goal. It was absolute textbook stuff for Patterson. So I give him all the credit for it. You could see how much it meant to him, and you could not have written that script, could you? You really couldn't.
I mean, you're waxing lyrical about that goal, but on the 53rd minute, he scored an absolute An absolute worldie. It doesn't matter who the opposition was. This is, one of the best goals in Europe you'll ever see. A stunning move with quick passing starting from the right-hand side at the back. It was passed forward, passed back, passed forward again. It was passed forward to Hadji, who cut inside at the halfway line, who dropped the shoulder beautifully, and then fed a great ball to Morelos, who basically, I think he dropped the shoulder, hit it round the guy. He went the one way, the ball went the other, skips past his man into the box, cuts it back to Kent, who feeds it into the back of the net just for a first-time shot. Just an outrageous goal.
It is, again, Derek, we're on about goals that we've scored. That move was phenomenal, wasn't it? It was absolutely phenomenal. That, when it comes to European goals, I keep going back to the goal that Morelos scored for the back heel from Candace. Remember, was it last season or the season before? But this move from start to finish, let's start with Hadji. The touch, first of all, as you say, the way that he turned and he completely lost his man with one touch of the ball, and the fed ball through to Morelos, and then you thought to yourself, what's going to happen here? Is Morelos just going to be direct and try and beat him? He didn't just beat him, Derek. He absolutely humiliated the guy. He put the ball to the right-hand side and sprinted to the left-hand side round him, collects the ball, and as you say, instinctively, Ryan Kent, the run for Kent, you can see it. You can actually see it. As soon as Morelos retrieves the ball from himself from that pass, that dart, that sheer pace that Kent's got to make the diagonal run to, the penalty spot, and Morelos knew exactly where to pass the ball, supreme accuracy, and then the first time finish. It was absolutely sensational, Derek. What a goal. Absolutely brilliant. And so disappointed that fans never got to see that inside the stadium, because the place would have been absolutely bouncing. Yep.
However, 4 minutes later, we put ourselves on the back foot again, because Antwerp made it 3-2. The ball was dinked over our defence. McGregor charges out. Goldson taps the ball goalwards to try and clear the ball, but the Antwerp player keeps on running and manages to collect the ball at the touchline and taps it into the empty net at a tight angle. Shocking defending again, and not that I've said it in the post-match, not that we've faced it that much this season, but a simple long ball over the top of Goldson, and that's what outdone him once again. And clearly, I think McGregor and Goldson, something happened with the communication there. I don't know, McGregor, if he charged out without shouting or what, but it was poor all round.
I couldn't say it any better, Derek. It was very sloppy, very basic. I mean, I thought it was just going to be a simple clearance by Goldson, but then you say complete miscommunication between the two of them, which we really don't see a lot of. So, I'm thankful there. But as you say, a really sloppy goal to score. But again, that striker from, the striker that they had up front, is it Lam Kelsey? His name is. He, as I say, every time he got the ball, he looked dangerous. It was him that punished us again. But simple stuff that we could have avoided, Derek.
Yep. 61st minute, Kent with a long-range effort well over the bar. 70th minute, Hadji off and Arfield on. 75th minute, Antwerp with a chance, but my feed went down. Clear offside, going by the comments anyway. And then those three words once again. 77th minute, penalty to Rangers. Morelos was brought down by a lazy challenge. He did, in fairness, go down in stages because he looked as if he was trying to keep himself up. The usual suspects have tried to say that he dived, but what a load of
definite contact. Yeah, no, you can't say that, Derek, because there's a lot of people out there that will do everything they can to have a go at Alfredo Morelos. So one thing that we don't say, he doesn't dive, Derek, because he's so greedy to try and score himself that he's desperate to get a shot away every time. And there was definite, the contact was there. It was a definite penalty.
Absolutely. And on the 79th minute, we put the game beyond doubt because Barisic made it 4-2. He puts the ball to the right again, but this time it was high and the keeper had no chance of getting it. So,
all credit to him, Derek. Stepped up after missing the one in the previous game, and fired it in. So, yeah, really delighted for him.
Yep. Substitutions on the 82nd minute, Davis and Kent on, and the shithousery with Zungu coming on and Wright coming on. 84th minute, Morelos off and Itten on, and then on the 91st minute, penalty to Rangers once again. Right on the right-hand side of the box, cuts inside between the two defenders and brought down with a clumsy pullback. Another clear penalty, as you like. I can't remember who it was, but they signalled to, I think it was Barisic, signalled for it to get it, which was brilliant sportsmanship and great kind of leadership as well, just to give him a wee bit of confidence as well.
He said that himself, Derek, after the game when he was interviewed. It was all about getting confidence back to our striker. So, he gave the responsibility of the penalty to him.
Yep. On the 92nd minute, we went 5-2 when Itten sends the ball down the middle. The keeper got his legs to it, but it was too powerful a shot to deflect that away from goal. So, brilliant there. Full time through to the last 16, 9-5 on aggregate. Just incredible.
Totally mental game again, Derek. Not quite as mental as the first game, but we certainly could have made it a lot easier for ourselves. But I keep saying it, I was impressed with them going forward, Derek. We've been slagged off, especially by that fans of that shower over there, to say that that they weren't a great team, and for us to ship 5 goals against them is worrying. But I think we know what we did wrong and where we went wrong as well. Hopefully that can be ironed out, for the next game, that we've got coming up in Europe. But we're through, Derek. That's all that matters, and we've scored some incredible goals as well. And again, I keep saying it, for these games not to have any fans in front of them is an absolute travesty, isn't it? Because these are games that will be remembered for years and years and years. And after that game, Derek, Steven Gerrard setting a new European record. Is that correct?
I think it is, yeah. He beat Walter Smith's record, and his comments after the game as well, that he shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence as Walter Smith. Just brilliant there. He knows what it's all about to be a Ranger, and that's fantastic. I mean,
sheer class,
you still have to pinch yourself. We've got Steven Gerrard as our manager, don't you?
Incredible. I mean, Derek, as I say, I'm sure we'll go over this at the end of the season, but the transformation in the team over the last two and a half seasons has been quite incredible, especially in Europe. It's, we're a completely different team when we play in Europe. And I think, I don't care what anybody says, I think anybody that draws us in Europe now knows that they're going to have a hell of a fight in their hands, which is absolutely fantastic to see.
Yep, absolutely. We'll get into who we got in a minute, but just to round out the game there, during the Antwerp game, Morelos stopped the play when we were in possession and bearing down on goal. He had a good chance to go for the goal, however the Antwerp player was injured and Morelos stopped the play. Morelos, that was incredible from Morelos, frustrating as well, mind you, because he's normally goal hungry, like you've said before, but getting praise from all corners from that, including Romelu Lukaku, whose brother was playing for Antwerp. So incredible.
Derek, I was speaking about this to a good friend Ewan at work, and he said something about how hilarious would it be, especially Scottish football, if he was to be awarded the FIFA Fair Play or the UEFA Fair Play Award for this season. That would be the ultimate slap in the face to all the rest of the haters in Scottish football. That would, honestly, it would be absolutely brilliant if that happened. But as you say, fair play to him. He saw the guy was injured and went down, and he could have had a pop himself. So it shows you, Derek, the guy is maturing. He's certainly not the player that he was before. I absolutely love him. You know that. I can't. It's even with the negative things that come about him. I would hate him not to be in our team. And just another thing, just to show, and the fact that he's creating as many goals as he's scoring now for the rest of the team just shows you how valuable he is to us.
Yeah, well, we're not finished with the Morelos news there, because in the 9 goals we scored against Antwerp, an incredible 8 of them were involving Morelos as well. Not as deadly as he's been in the league previously, but he's been outstanding in Europe. Arguably,
Derek, a better player now than he has been, without a shadow of a doubt. As you say, it's that his all-round play up front is just phenomenal. He's just been tremendous for us. He had that patch this season, where he was out of form and there was the transfer rumours and he was, left out the team for a couple of games, but it showed you what's happened to him. I think maybe the birthday's wee girl maybe settled down. He's back to living life, loving playing football. He's going to get a winner's medal, Derek, and here's hoping we're going to get much further in Europe as well. So it's great just now. He's absolutely flying, and I, for one, I'm just absolutely delighted that we've got him in our team. Just love the guy.
Well, we're still not finished there because he also gave his first English interview after the game as well.
Oh, tremendous! Yep. Mm-hmm.
He basically said the same thing about 4 times, but utterly brilliant. The fact that an English interview. So long may it continue.
Definitely, Derek. Absolutely. Certainly sounds a lot different to what I thought he was going to sound, right enough. But as you say, it shows you the commitment that he's got to learning English, and he certainly looks happy, in all his Instagram photos that he's putting up and stuff. And he's certainly, in my opinion, the best striker that we've had in our team for decades now. Since the likes of Jelic and that, he's the best striker that we've had, hands down.
Yeah. So in the league, we've played 30, won 26, drawn 4, still not lost any, scored 73, still only conceded 9 goals, goal difference plus 64, and we're on 82 points, 15 ahead of Celtic, but we've got a game in hand and we've got a 22 better goal difference. So fantastic in the league there. Another 2 victories and we can wrap it up at the Gyrodome, Sharkhead, as it's now dubbed.
Exactly. Yep. It's quite incredible, Derek. I keep telling myself to calm down, stop talking about it. All I'm seeing constantly is the chance to buy flags and T-shirts and everything. I'm not going to do it until it's actually done, but I'm living in dreamland now. It's going to happen, Derek. How sweet it would be if it did happen at their stadium with everything that's happened, everything that we've been through. It's I'm sure it's going to be glorious, Derek. But as I say, I'm trying to keep my feet on the ground at the moment.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's strange because it's been a slow build. We know it's coming, and it's not like a last minute, helicopter Sunday type thing. It's just we've known really since the New Year game that it's coming. So.
Yep, I know.
But anyway, the games to come is the next one is Wednesday the 3rd of March. So that'll be tonight. It's away to Livingston in the Premiership. That's an 1800 kickoff. Don't get that wrong. That's going to be a tough game, I think. They'll be hurting after getting beat in the League Cup final. Certainly the informed team. Arguably, if it's not going to be Gerrard, it's going to be Martindale as the manager of the year. We've just got to be wary about that there. See, to be honest with you, Dave, I see us dropping points, but also see the Celtic dropping points as well.
No, I'm quite confident, Derek. It's not going to be a rout, but I can see us. I think we'll win the game. Maybe by a goal, two goals. It's a ground that has caused us problems in the past, but I think this has been a season of us getting over these hoodoos, Derek, and I can see us going and winning. I'm feeling quite confident at the moment.
After that, it's Saturday the 6th of March at home to St Mirren in the Premiership. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Then it's the last 16 draw. We got Slavia Prague. It's Thursday the 11th of March away to Slavia Prague in the last 16 leg 1. That's a 17:55 kickoff. No game in the weekend in between, and then it's the Thursday the 18th of March at home to Slavia Prague, second leg. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff, and then Sunday the 21st of March away to Celtic in the Premiership. That's a midday kickoff. So what a month we've got, really.
Exactly, Derek. Again, we keep saying it. We didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We go one game at a time like we did in January. That's exactly what we did. We said that if we could win our next sort of 5 games, that was going to get us well on the way. And these, the next sort of 5 games that we've got are massive for the club, both domestically and in Europe. So, let's do it. Let's go as professional as we can. No slip-ups in defence. Keep everything as professional as possible. Concentration at 100%, and I would take a 1-0 victory in every single one of the games, Derek. I'm no bother on how flash it is. Let's just go out and get each the 3 points for each of the games.
I mean, we've not really talked about the Slavia Prague and the draw. I mean, certainly it's a better draw than we could have got, certainly with some of the teams in there. It's not going to be the easiest of games. I mean, they're on a massive run. I think they've only been beat a couple of times as well this season. They've on a great run. They put out Leicester in the last round, did they not?
They did, Derek, and I went on social media is a great thing. I went on a few of the sort of Leicester fan pages after the game just to sort of see the reaction of the Leicester fans who didn't particularly seem that fussed that they were knocked out of the Europa League. I think the English teams that are at the top of the table really don't see it, up at that end, don't see that as being a priority. They're desperate to get their Champions League spots and the Premier League, and going by them, it wasn't a great Leicester performance, and there was a few sort of second string players in the game as well, so maybe not looking into that too much. A great result for Slavia Prague. If that was us and we'd have put out Leicester, we'd have been absolutely delighted. So it's going to be tough, Derek, as you say. They are a team that are bang on form just now, but we've beaten bigger, better teams than that already, Derek, haven't we? So let's go into it with the focus that we've had on all our European games this season. Go out, go for it. And the way that the team's playing at the moment, I can certainly see us scoring. So here's hoping that it's all positive, and we can get the results that we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, the two things that came out of the European exploits this year, especially over the last couple of days, is the arrogance of the English supporters.
Yeah,
just treating it, especially in TalkSport as well.
Derek, it's no the now. That's something that I've been witnessing personally for 30 odd years. I can remember when
we know that.
I can remember what it was like when we got Leeds United in the Champions League qualifier. Leeds United, all the media, the newspapers, everybody, were actually saying that was Leeds through to the first ever Champions League group stages. They were actually saying that was them, through. There was it was a formality. So I know exactly how it is, but you've only got to look back, the times that Scottish teams have been drawn against English teams. It's always been extremely close, and, the Scottish teams have got a good record against English teams, but as you say, it's incredibly arrogant when it comes to Scottish football and English football, so it's one of these things.
But it's the other thing as well about folk were just looking at, you shipped 5 goals against a team that weren't that great. Well, we scored 9. And they just completely discounted that. And it's a case of, did you actually watch the game? Because it was two teams that were very open. Do you think if we were playing defensively and not going for it, we would have conceded 5 goals? Very doubtful. We certainly wouldn't have scored 9 goals, but we wouldn't have conceded 5 goals. So you can't just say, you conceded 5 goals and then completely discount the fact that we scored 9. So there's going to be a lot of red faces out there. I mean, we're being a bit blasé about things. Of course, we're jovial now about it, but we're realists. We know our position, we know where we've came from, we know what we're doing. We're punching well above our weight in Europe the last couple of years since Gerrard's taken over, but we've been fantastic and we're there on merit. We've not done it on 1-0 wins and away goal difference wins like it was in 2008.
Exactly, yep.
That was still an achievement. Don't take that away from the team, because it's still in the rules. You've still got to do it that way, but this season is completely different. We're doing it with style, we're doing it with flair, and we're cuffing big teams. We're outplaying big teams.
Exactly.
So that's the difference. But we'll see how it goes anyway.
Yep, definitely.
So on that note, we'll go into the classic match.
And there it is. The final whistle's gone. Rangers have won the European Cup Winners' Cup.
So Dave, you're going back to 2008 and a victory against them, aren't you?
Yes, Derek. I've been covering this sort of period in time over the last few weeks, considering it was sort of the last time that we were, very successful as a team, apart from this season in the league. And I'm going back to the 31st of August 2008, so the start of 2008-2009 season, or near the start, when we played Celtic at Celtic Park, and the Rangers team on that day, Alan McGregor, Kurt Broadfoot, David Weir, Majid Beguera, Sasa Papac into midfield, Stephen Davis, Pedro Mendes, Kevin Thompson and Charlie Adam, and up front Miller, and a surprise recall for Daniel Kuzan, who, if you can remember back at that stage, Derek, looked as if he'd played his last game for Rangers. Had a big move to Fulham, sort of cancelled at the last minute, and we all thought that he was definitely away. He'd taken a bit of a strop, I think, at the time, but a surprise inclusion from Walter Smith to play him in this game. I think he knew that if he had a good game, especially with the game being nationally or all over Europe on the TV, that he would maybe try and have something to prove, and he was right. The substitutes for Rangers that day: Alexander Edu, Daly, Lafferty, Niguez and McMillan. The Celtic team that day: Boric, Hinkle, Caldwell, McManus, Wilson, Nakamura, Hartley, Brown, McGeady, Maloney and Samaras. So Rangers setting up with a surprising 4-4-2 formation in this game. Walter Smith had been playing the sort of one main striker, heavy in the midfield and the defence up until this point, but going with Kuzan and Miller up front, to try and put in. It's certainly Rangers were really out attacking Celtic, and in the third minute, first sort of real chance for Rangers, and a fantastic play by Charlie Adam on the left-hand side, gets to the byline, nutmegs his man, drills his shot in low, it's blocked, it comes back to Kuzan, who blasts his shot at goal. It's blocked by the defender again, and they managed to clear it. So clear intentions for Rangers, really going for it. And Kuzan, his physical presence in the first 10 minutes was causing Celtic all sorts of problems, especially Mark Wilson at the back. He couldn't get to grips with him at all. The 8th minute though, Kevin Thompson showing his presence with an early booking with a siding tackle on Nakamura, really sort of showing him that he was there, which Kevin Thompson was famous for doing for Rangers, breaking up the play. And the sort of first 20 minutes, that both teams were sort of cancelling each other out. Rangers really going for it. Celtic managing to cope with us defensively and not having anything from it. Then in the 30th minute, Rangers won a corner. Steve Davis to the back post, and then a volley by Daniel Kuzan. It was an inch perfect corner from Davis. Nobody had picked up Kuzan at the back post, and it was a real chance, but he blasted it over the bar. But 7 minutes later, Rangers broke the deadlock.
Kuzan up against Wilson. He's away. It's Kuzan, and he scored! Daniel Kuzan, a surprise starter, seizes the moment.
This is sheer brilliance from Kuzan. Get the ball to him and he'll run. He'll take on defenders, and look how cool he is when he gets himself into the position that many a striker would get his head up and think, right, I've done my job, I'm going to lay it back, but no intention of that.
Celtic trying to play the ball out from the back for about 2 minutes of the game. They're passing it back and forward between their defenders. They couldn't get the ball into midfield. So they played it back to Boric, who just thumps it downfield just to about the halfway line. Pedro Mendes, the ball bounces and Mendes hits a sort of volleyed pass. First time to Daniel Kuzan, just inside the Celtic half on the right-hand side. He's got Mark Wilson alongside him, and he basically just breezes past him, keeps the ball down to the ground, runs into the box, into the corner of the box at a tight angle, blasts the ball past Boric to make it 1-0 to Rangers. A fantastic goal by Kuzan, powerful, fast, and a fantastic finish by him. So Rangers, quite rightly, take the lead because they were the better team. But only 2 minutes later, some sloppy, shocking defending by Rangers in midfield and in defence, which led to Celtic getting an equaliser out of absolutely nothing.
Maloney, Samaras! Celtic responds straight away! A match.
Pedro Mendes, first of all, loses the ball in midfield. The ball gets played out onto the left wing, and the ball gets played in, and it was just to be a simple clearance by Papac, and unlike him, it completely fluffs his clearance. It skiffs off him, and there's Samaras just inside the 6-yard box just to sort of pass it into the net. Really, really poor defending by Rangers. Up until that point, Rangers were the only team in it, but shocking defending. So that was in the 39th minute. The game had sort of died out after that, and they went in at 1-1 at half-time. So half-time, I think Walter Smith must have really went right through the Rangers team, because they came out and, really looked like they were really going to go for it. And they started the second half on the front foot. Pedro Mendes getting more time in the ball in midfield, spraying the passes about from left to right. Daniel Kuzan still the focal point of our attack. But Celtic got a great chance just a few minutes after that again, out of absolutely nothing. Sean Maloney managed to get space in the box, fired his shot, but just wide. But only 3 minutes later, and Rangers retook the lead.
It's Kenny Miller now! How predictable was that? It just had to happen!
this ball to get him. Kuza again, initially, very good play. It's a lovely ball over. Miller's online, he's not offside, and he can only go one place. It's all about how he does it. Thompson floats over, and he gets it down into the ground, back across Boric. And that's just a fabulous finish.
The ball was played to Daniel Kuzan just inside the box. He was bundled down, looked to be a penalty to me, but the ref allowed the play to continue. The ball then falls for Kevin Thompson, who was just on the left-hand side, just outside the box. He dinks a fantastic ball to the back post area, and there's Kenny Miller volleying the ball past Boric to make it 2-1. This was the Kenny Miller that we were all wanting, instinctive scoring. That was what Kenny Miller was best at, when he didn't have time to think, and that was exactly it. All happened very quickly, and a phenomenal volley to make it 2-1 to Rangers. And then, only a few minutes after that, again, we really put the game to bed.
Davis fools everyone by picking out Pedro Mendes. That is just brilliant! Fabulous!
It's just sensational. He comes across it from fully 25 yards. Such a difficult technique to master, this one. But boy, does he catch that one sweetly.
62nd minute, Steve Davis with a corner on the left-hand side. He sees Pedro Mendes outside the box, completely unmarked, and he plays the ball across the deck to Mendes on the edge of the box, and he strikes it. What a goal. Absolutely thunders it past Boric. No chance. The pace, the power, the accuracy, absolutely top drawer there from Pedro Mendes. Fantastic goal to put Rangers 3-1 ahead. That was the game. Rangers well on top at this stage. Celtic had absolutely nothing. But then on the 75th minute, controversy. Daniel Kuzan receiving his second yellow card after a challenge on McManus. He was sent off. So Rangers down to 10 men, but we were comfortable at this stage. Celtic were really offering nothing. But just a minute later, Jan Vennegoor-Hesselink, who'd only been on the park for 3 minutes, got a red card off the ball incident with cut Broadfoot. He kicked him off the ball. Referee saw it. Straight red card. So both teams down to 10 men within the space of a minute. And like I said, Jan Vennegoor-Hesselink had only been on the pitch for 3 minutes. So still 3-1 at this stage. Substitution for Rangers, Charlie Adam off, Nacho Novo on. And then on the 79th minute, Rangers really did rub salt in the wounds because we scored another goal.
Broadfoot now. And it's spilled! Kenny Miller must score! Boric with an incredible howler! And Miller has struck again! Happy days are here again for Rangers!
Broadfoot, as ever, happy to go down that right-hand side, and he whips a good ball in. Boric, what is he thinking about? He must just take his eye off the ball. He's casual there at the front post area. It comes in. And look at this. How easy does it get for Kenny Miller? 2 goals in a game that we never knew what to expect from the Scotland striker.
Kurt Broadfoot, who'd got the ball on the right wing, he sprinted down the right wing. He fired in a low cross right in front of Boric. Boric, which looked as if he was going to have an easy catch, spills the ball straight to Kenny Miller. He controls it and just taps the ball into the net to make it 4-1. Absolute howler by Boric, which was fantastic, and given Rangers their 4th goal, 2 goals for Kenny Miller. The game was, put to bed at that stage, but we could have went on and scored more after that. But Celtic did have a chance the 83rd minute. Wilson with a shot was going into the top corner, but a great save by Alan McGregor. And then Kenny Miller should have had his hat-trick with a minute to go. The 89th minute, Nacho Novo receives the ball. 2 defenders go to Novo. He puts a wee flick pass out to Kenny Miller on the left-hand side. He's inside the box, completely unmarked. He has time on the ball, and as we all know, Derek, Kenny Miller with time on his hands isn't great because he just hit the ball, fluffed it straight at Boric. If that had been, if he did no time to think about that, he would have burst the net with it, but he had too much time in his hand, put it straight to him. And then on the 90th minute, another chance for Rangers to score. Steve Davis beats the offside trap into the box, but fires just past the post. Really unlucky by that point. Then into stoppage time, Celtic got a consolation goal.
Nakamura has found the bottom corner, adding to his free kick collection. Celtic may have had the last word in this game, but Rangers are having the last laugh.
Nakamura with a free kick at the edge of the box sends it past McGregor for Celtic to score their second goal, but it didn't matter. The game was put to bed at that stage, and another fantastic and memorable victory at Celtic Park against Celtic. So I'm sure you can remember that one, Derek, and I'm sure you can remember Pedro Mendes's absolutely sensational goal.
Yeah, it's just always about the Mendes goal, but once again, Kuzan getting himself sent off in stupid times as well, eh?
It certainly was, but as I say, for the fact that he'd played so well in the game as well, they couldn't handle him, and it had to end in a sour point for him, but that was that.
So, another great classic match there. Hopefully we can get the same sort of result against them in a couple of weeks' time. But as you said, I'll take a 1-0 win, a fluky Morelos goal to get the winner and win this league. I
would take a clearance hitting off Alfredo's arse and trundling into the back of the net, Derek. That's what I would take right now. But as I say, I didn't want to get too carried away at this stage, and we've got a game to win on Wednesday first of all. So
absolutely. One game at a time.
Exactly.
So we'll have another classic match in the next episode, and we'll now go into the news. So, a few bits and pieces as ever to go over here. Sadly, the request for the Red Arrows to do a fly past has been rejected. It would have been incredible if we managed to do that, but the silver lining in it, though, is nearly £60,000 has been raised for charities. An absolute tremendous effort by all, and it's put the fans and the club in good light, and worthwhile charities are going to benefit from it as well.
Excellent, yeah, well done.
Yep. Next thing, both Rangers and Celtic have tabled a deal to get our Colt teams involved in the lower leagues again. We would both pay £1.5 million each over 5 years to League 1 and 2 teams, and promotion would be capped, so we wouldn't get promoted into the top tiers. Surely now it's a no-brainer, given everything that's happened with COVID and the restrictions these clubs have had and the lack of money. We would certainly take a lot of support there, and certainly one of the options that was tabled before is that we agreed to purchase a certain amount of tickets regardless if we sold them or not anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's Derek, there is no negative behind that. If it's capped and they can't get promoted, we're going to be taking fans, because I'll be honest with you, Derek, if it was a game, let's say it's Stennismuir or Stirling Albion or something like that, maybe I'm doing these teams a disservice by not knowing what leagues that they're in right enough, but if it was close by, if it was in the sort of 20 miles from where I am, and they were playing on, a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, and there was no other games on, I would definitely go to it without a shadow of a doubt. And there's a lot of fans out there, a lot of non-season ticket holders out there is getting the chance to go. And although it's not the Rangers' first team, it's still Rangers. So you're getting a chance to cheer these guys on. I think they would sell out the vast majority of these wee stadiums, Derek, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think this is the problem is it needs a change. From top to bottom, from SFA to the SPFL to the way the leagues are run as well, just in general. And surely over the handling of COVID and the handling of the leagues over the last wee while, it's proof that these teams need to start. Yeah, maybe 2 teams will suffer, but I don't know how they're going to do it, if they're going to expand the lower leagues or not. But it's certainly stuff that can get ironed out. But if you just say no, then you're nothing's going to change in this country. Certainly, I've said it before, 42 teams for Scotland is far too much. So cut, at least 10 of them out of the leagues, and then they can go on their own in a junior league or something like that. But so we'll see what happens there. Next thing is we have announced a partnership with Charles Tyrwhitt, I think that's how you pronounce it, as the club's official formal shirt supplier.
Oh, right, okay.
Whatever next, Dave, whatever next. But in fairness, another known top brand, Bisgrove, is an absolute genius, and you just have to look at the bottom of the Rangers website to see the amount of quality brands we've aligned ourselves with since Bisgrove's came into his position. It's fantastic.
Excellent.
Yep. Next thing here is a bit of a strange one. Our very own Yanis Hadji is starring in a Pepsi advert with Lionel Messi. No idea how it came about, but the advert is appearing in his homeland. It's a split screen with them both kicking the ball back and forward to each other, and Messi drinks Pepsi. So I don't know, of all the players, why Hadji's been picked for that. I don't know if it's a regional thing where they've got Messi and other players. I don't know, but strange one. But great advert for Yanis and us as well.
It certainly is, for this to be one of the greatest players in the world, and Lionel Messi in the same commercial, So
exactly.
Superb.
Yep, a few things that are not really related to us. Gaza is currently doing the Italian version of "I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here."
Dreadful. Oh my God! That's viewing, amazing. Derek. That's viewing. So it is.
I mean, it would be bigger than McCoy's to doing the British version, which was touted a couple of years ago. So, certainly, if there's any English translation of that'll be fantastic.
Brilliant.
Next thing here, John Robertson has taken compassionate leave from his job at Inverness Caledonian Thistle due to a family bereavement, so hope all is well there. However, Neil McCann has been appointed his interim successor until he comes back, so really disappointing to lose him from RTV because he's fantastic on it, but certainly wish him luck.
Yeah, no, definitely, Derek, and a guy who really should be in management. His knowledge of the game is incredible. His punditry is even better. Absolutely fantastic commentary for him and analysis. Really professional at all times. I love listening to Neil McCann when he's on. Absolutely brilliant. A great ambassador for our club as well. And I think they were beaten tonight by Dundee. Dundee's winning goal scored by none other than Jason Cummings, who's now back up playing in Scotland. I think he's scored 3 in 3 games or something like that for them. So he got his first game as a defeat. Did Neil McCann, but as you say, we wish him all the best.
One thing here is I've got to comment on is speculation about Gerrard's future. Obviously, is rife considering Liverpool are not doing great this season and we're doing fantastic. So, also,
God, I'm sick and tired, Derek.
I know. There's also talk of Klopp taking the German national job. So, to be honest, I can't see either of them leaving this summer. You don't just bin a manager who's won you your first league in 30 years and the Champions League after one mediocre season. And obviously, Gerrard's contracted till 2024, I think, as well. So, he surely wants a crack at the Champions League with us as well.
Yep. However, without a shadow of a doubt, Derek, surely it's like his legacy that he's building up, and he wants to see them playing in the top competition in world football. So, I'm certainly not worried about that. I think it's all speculation.
Yeah, it did get me thinking though that if we maintain this level in Europe, we will surely have no problem attracting a higher level manager due to the club's profile now.
Exactly.
Also, a lot of top managers, they've done well, but they've not really won anything, or they've not won much. As they're ultimately, you look at some of the kind of upper tier teams in England, their boards can't match, the big four in terms of spending, so they're never going to be able to win anything. So at Rangers, you're given a great platform to win domestically and also be on the European stage, something that not all managers are given the opportunity to do. So it would be a massive draw for us, especially this European profile we've retained again. So hopefully...
How funny would it be? And as I say, this is hypothetical, Derek, in another world, because as I say, I don't want Gerrard to go, but how funny would it be if he was replaced by Rafa Benitez?
That would be good.
Exactly. But no, I'm not talking about it, Derek. But no, you're right, Derek. As what you're saying, I am very confident about the future for Rangers, and we're playing at such a high level at the moment that I'm hoping, that the Champions League football is going to be a regular thing, especially with exploits and getting extra places and stuff like that. Going for extra places for Scottish teams. So I don't think there would be an issue in the future, in the far off future, of us attracting a top manager.
Talking of managers, and we kind of buried the lead here, but Lennon has left Celtic. It came pretty much right after the loss to Ross County. Really strange, considering after the game he was very bullish, saying that he won't walk. The board were clearly not going to sack him, so I wonder what's changed there. So obviously all of us are really disappointed.
Absolutely gutted, Derek. Completely.
We held candlelight vigils and everything for that. So But the thing is, though, John Kennedy is his replacement. So that's kind of it's slightly step up from Murty taking over. You considering he's the number 2 at Celtic now. But would it not be hilarious if John Kennedy was instead put in the top position?
Well, Derek, I know that there's a lot of speculation out there about the goings-on at Celtic Park and with other, newsworthy items that have been going on about their club, which we've, covered briefly. There's talk of a lot of court cases and possibly a lot of money. And as you say, I think we spoke about it in the last pod, but not the only high-profile departure from Celtic's backroom with their Mr. Fix-It, the man who has done everything in his power to get them the success that they've had over the last few years and doing all sorts of things. And Peter Lawwell, him leaving as well, Derek, is huge. And is this the Rats all abandoning the ship and sink? The ship and sink? The sinking ship, I should say. But, is that is there doom and gloom that's coming to the club? It's certainly been on the back burner for a while now, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep. And the last piece of football news here is Nikica Jelavic has been sadly forced to retire aged 35 due to a knee injury. A fantastic player for us. A shame an injury has forced him out. Dado Porzo was the same, having to retire early. Seems we always do well with our Croatian players, bar one that came from Osijek, mind you. But a shame that another one of our former players has to retire early because of injury.
Well, I think the one that you're talking about that didn't work out well wasn't even Croatian. I think it was Albanian. I think the only Croatian that we've not had that still played well for us was the fact that he was really old and was completely fucked and being Nico Kranjčar. But I mentioned him earlier, Derek. I think until Alfredo came along, he was the last of the sort of top strikers that we had playing for the club. A fantastic striker, had a relative success down in England, and went back, I think, to play in Croatia and stuff like that. So sorry that he's gone. He's not playing anymore, and as I say, just have to wish him all the best as well in his retirement.
Yep, absolutely. So, dogging is not essential travel. UK police force forced to speak out on planned event.
Planned event. Right.
Planned event. A police force in the UK has been forced to speak out to insist that travelling to a so-called dogging event will be not classed as essential travel.
Dogging event.
The website Let's Go Dogging has shared that there are plans for a meet-up in Essex during the last weekend there, with to its 26,000 followers on social media.
Oh my God, right, okay.
The site claims to organise dogging events, which is, for anyone not knowing, is the act of watching sexual activity in a public place, and they organise it in the UK, USA, Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand and South Africa.
God.
It is not disclosed exactly where in Canvey Island in Essex the meet-up would take place, but Essex police have now been compelled to speak out, insisting such a meet-up would be against COVID rules and officers would be patrolling the area this weekend. Of course they would do.
I bet there would be so many volunteers. I'm coming and work for nothing on that shift. I'm coming. Well, Derek, on a sort of different way that we're going on the podcast this week, I've actually got a story for you for this section. Yes. But unlike yours, Derek, this doesn't involve people's private parts or objects being stuffed into other people's anatomy. But the reason that I'm going to say this is because it is one of the most bizarre stories that I've heard that I had to share it. So are you ready for this one?
Go there.
Indian man killed by his own bird during a cockfight.
Okay.
Right? A cockerel that had been fitted with a knife for an a cockerel that had been fitted with a knife for an illegal cockfight has killed its owner in southern India. The bird's owner was impaled in the groin by the knife as the animal tried to escape. The man died on his way to hospital from a loss of blood. The police are now searching for 15 more people involved in the event, which took place in the village of Lothunner in the state of Telanga earlier this week. The animal was held at a police station before being transferred to a farm. Police said the animal was being readied to take part in a fight when it tried to escape. Its owner attempted to catch it, but was struck by the 7-centimetre long knife which was on the bird's leg during the struggle. Those involved in the event face charges of manslaughter, illegal betting and hosting a cockfight, and the AFP news agency reports. A local police officer said that the animal would be taken to court as evidence at a later date. Right? Cockfighting was made illegal in India in 1960, but fights are relatively common in rural areas such as Telanga and many falling around the Hindu festival of Sankari. It's not the first time an owner has been killed by the cockerel. Last year, a man in Anara died after he was hit in the neck by a blade attached to the bird. So there you go. So illegal cockfights who actually strap blades to the birds so that they would win, that is what you call fucking mentalism in my books.
A cock with a knife, and it wasn't even a meaty tiger.
But unfortunately for your stories, Derek, it didn't end up inside somebody and have to get, extracted by an A&E nurse. So, it doesn't quite come into the category your usual stories.
Well, a cock did end up in the groin of a man, so...
There you go.
So, on that note, as ever, if you want to go and check out the rest of the stuff that we do and get more bizarre stories at the end of our podcast, you can go to our website, which is ireadypodcast.wordpress.com, and there you can find what we do. So, all that's left to say is we hope that our team does well tonight. I'll hopefully have this podcast out before it. We will probably be back maybe the week after next. I'll be back with a post-match after the Livingston game and after the game at the weekend as well. So, Dave, anything left to say?
Just fingers crossed, Derek. I've sounded like a broken record here, but take it one game at a time. If we could get 5 victories at our next 5 games, it would be just absolutely sensational.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.